in the top of the 17th verse that they were coming out of the wilderness of sin.
Amen.
They were coming out of the wilderness of sin. They were... Have everybody came out of the wilderness of sin?
Come on.
Were you going through something?
Come on now.
The Bible says all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So has anybody ever come out of the wilderness of sin? It's something about you just actually having to do sin or doing sin just because you want to be rebellious. But to be in a wilderness of sin, that means that you've been surrounded nothing but sin. Have anybody ever been to the desert in Arizona and you're walking around in all that dust and sand and there's no water nowhere around? And you're walking back and forth and you understand, or you're driving through there and all you see is dust and dust and dust and dust. A wilderness of sin.
That's right.
A wilderness of ungodliness. They were coming out of a wilderness on a journey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Some of us have to journey through that wilderness of sin sometimes. Maybe because we're rebellious. And the Lord told him what? The Lord told him to strike the rock.
Yes.
Why did he tell him to strike the rock? Maybe the rock in that area was kind of hard.
Yeah.
Couldn't just speak to it. Hard. He told him to gather them together. Told him to strike the rock. The rock brought forth water.
Amen.
Now, I believe God didn't have him strike the rock to make it seem like a seemingly thing. You know what I'm saying? Because like last week I was saying, strike the rock. But on the other hand, in Numbers, they're coming through the wilderness of Zin. Z-I-N. Which is maybe a lighter term. As I looked in the Greek, a lighter term of sin. Or a sinful place. But not, because we as human beings, we judge things. Killing is one and lying is one. God says sin is sin.
Come on now. That's right.
So when they got into this area, he just tells them to speak to the rock.
Come on now.
I made it through sin. I'm in a whole new season now. I'm in a whole new wilderness now. Anybody? I made it through sin, so I'm in a whole new wilderness now. Is anybody in a whole new wilderness now?
Go ahead, brother.
It almost seems like it's spelled the same, but it's not. Because the devil, all he uses is the same old stuff. And he just may color it a different color, but it's still the same thing. Y'all don't hear me? That's all he got is the same old thing. And it's still in the same stuff. He uses the same stuff. So even though I've come out of the wilderness of sin, I'm now in a different wilderness. And this wilderness sounds like it's the same, but it's not the same. It's different.
That's right. Come on now. Go ahead, brother. Now, go ahead, brother.
It's not so much that it's different that the devil is on my back and I'm in a wilderness. It's different because God sent me somewhere and I've got out of the victory of the other one. The difference is now it's not what it used to be, what God said. God has delivered me from that and now I'm into something else to get another blessing.
Speak word. Speak truth.
See, the difference is the devil thinks you're in the same season.
That's right.
That's why he uses the same old stuff. Because even though God doesn't move you from one season to the next, the devil says, oh no, that's still the same season. Because he can't see when God is really doing something until you get to your destiny. Y'all get what I'm saying? So what happens is he'll say, well, no, that's just the same season, so I'm going to use the same thing. But the thing about it that he didn't get is that he understood that God already blessed you in the last season. So you already knew how to get out of that.
That's good, sir. That's good. Speak true. Speak true. Good.
Understand that when they started this journey, they just went off the miracles and what Moses and Aaron said.
Come on now.
That's all they know.
Come on now.
They didn't know God as a personal Savior.
That's right.
They didn't know that He's Almighty.
No.
Look at this. I was reading and getting some nuggets.
Yep. That's what they do. Get them nuggets. Yeah.
I read something that said, one Hebrew family. This is of Exodus. One Hebrew family going into Egypt to escape the famine in the land. God pushed it there through Joseph. If y'all read the story,
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
pushed them there through Joseph.
Yes, he did.
Famine came in the land, they were somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
Joseph was sold and everywhere else, prison, all that, and ended up in Pharaoh's house.
That's right.
His daddy, brother, and everything else moved because they found their brother.
Yeah.
God's plan, God's destiny. Y'all catch this? God's destiny.
Yes, yes.
I know where you're going.
One family
One family.
entered Egypt. One Hebrew family
Yeah.
entered Egypt.
Okay.
They're in bondage and slavery. Egyptians said we got to put them under slave because they're growing too many.
Yeah.
But look at this. Somebody can get blessed right
You
now.
better go, Pastor. Tell it.
One family goes into Egypt.
Uh-huh.
Come on.
But when they come out one nation.
Uh-huh. You gotta say that.
Y'all didn't catch that.
I know what you said.
One family
Yeah. Come on now.
from the famine,
You better say it.
barely losing everything,
Come on, sir.
comes into a place where prosperity is.
Uh-huh. Hallelujah.
And as soon as they're in the place, they grow to the size bigger than where they're at.
You gotta say that. You gotta say it.
They grow to a size where folks are afraid of them.
Yeah.
They grow so big that the folks try to keep them down.
Yeah.
But God had a plan to say, I needed them there
Yeah.
so they can get where they needed to be. So when they get grown and they get big and they get too big, I'm gonna bring not only that family out, but a nation out. You think you're going into your situation by yourself. Sometimes you better say, it's just me and the Lord going into this thing. That's all right. Because realize He's taking you in for a reason. If you understand something about them, when they left, they had to go to the neighbors and say, neighbor, I need your stuff. You need to give me some of that gold. You need to give me some of this. You need to give me some of that. We leaving. Y'all don't hear me. We leaving. You need to give me some of that. I've been working for you so long. You need to pay me over here.
You better say that. You better say it.
So when they started to come out, that not only the miracles that happened in there, but they were so blessed because they had became a nation. There's a difference between you going into something and coming out with nothing. But it's something when you go into something and you coming out with not only a blessing, but you coming out with deliverance. You coming out with power. You coming out with authority. You coming out with more love. You coming out with stuff. And as you look around, you see somebody else coming with you. You know that you have been blessed and that somebody ought to give Him some praise. Woo. It's all right. That's all right. I can be by myself. It can just be me and my wife. That's all right. I see something greater happening. I see something bigger on the horizon. I may feel like I'm laid down and heavy laden, but God said if you just wait a little bit, I'm going
Good, sir.
One family goes in, and a nation comes out. Y'all don't hear me. Oh, I see it. I see it already. I see it already. One family comes in, and a nation. Oh, y'all need to see that. Ooh, wait. I see vision right now just all over my eyes. I can barely see right now because God has just shown me something.
Walk into it. Walk into it.
Oh, I see. Some of y'all look around. Just look around.